Hey guys, Dead Spikes here. Today I'm going to make a video talking about how to breed in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. You can see all these Pokemon here that I have in front of me are all pretty much bred perfect. Well, to my extent. I have a lot of fun breeding, and they've definitely made it really easy in this game. So I figured I'd make a guide talking to you guys about how to do it from start to finish. So before we get into the whole breeding, we need to learn two things. We need to learn what Pokemon nature is and what IVs are. So I have a bunch of Dittos here that will help kind of showcase this. So all these Dittos are the same level that I'll be showing, but they have different IVs and different natures. So first thing we'll look at is the nature. The nature is those arrows you see. So on this one I have a nature that's putting my attack up, since it has that red arrow pointing up. And the nature is also putting my special defense down. So you can see the blue arrow pointing down. So you can see this Ditto in particular has about 10% more attack than the other Dittos. Well, this one also has an attack up nature. But you see what I'm talking about. Like this one, it has 10% more attack. That's because of nature. Nature's gonna either be neutral, where it does no stat changes, or it's gonna have a stat that it puts up and a stat that it puts down. I would recommend looking up the full list of natures, and you can see all the different things they do if you're not sure. Next thing we're going to learn here is IVs. Once you beat the game completely on Scarlet and Violet, you will get the judge feature. You can see there on the bottom right, I can press the plus on my Nintendo Switch, and it'll switch to IV checking. This is going to tell me how good the IVs of the Pokemon that I am looking at. IVs are what a Pokemon is born with, and these can be passed down by Pokemon when they breed. But when you're catching Pokemon, it's just what they're caught at. You can't really manipulate them. With the newer games that have added bottle caps, which lets you raise them to max, but they will not breed them down. So bottle caps in breeding is not necessary and won't really help anything. But basically what you're looking at on this game in particular is what the text says. You want it to say best. You can see that I have a few Dittos here with best in different stats. That means that stat is maxed. And if you want to kind of see what it does, here's a good showcase here. These Dittos are the same level, and we can see the speed on this one's decent, which means it's not maxed. And on this one it's best, which means it is maxed. And there's no natures involved here. And this Ditto has 100 speed, and this Ditto has 87 speed. So you can see the slight stat change there just by not having a perfect IV. So the goal is to have Pokemon with perfect IVs and all the stats that you would like. And that's the goal of breeding. So here is my bred Pokemon, Skeledirge. And you can see I bred best into all stats except for attack. And that's because he's a special attacker. He deals most of his damage from special attack type moves. And then his nature on top of it increases his special attack and lowers his attack. So he has the highest special attack that is achievable. When you're breeding, this is kind of what you do, is you go for 5 IVs, because you normally don't need one of the stats. Here's another instance on Scizor. I don't need special attack since Scizor is a physical attacker, so I need to shoot for 5 IVs when I'm breeding. Alright. Now that we've learned the basics of this process, let's talk about what you should be doing to achieve the breeds that you want. First thing, I would catch a buttload of Dittos. I have a full Ditto catching guide I will post in my description of this video. Definitely go check it out if you don't know how to farm Dittos. And you will want a lot. On top of that, to make your process a little bit easier, you do want to try to get 4 and 5 IV Dittos, which come from 5-star and 6-star raids. There's a Discord that I use that I will also put in the description that posts a lot of 6-star Ditto raids that you could probably get into one as long as you have Nintendo Online and get these 5 IV Dittos. I will tell you how to do it without 5 IV Dittos, but 5 IV Dittos definitely make it a lot faster of a process. Now, the reason you're going to want to catch a bunch of different Dittos is for the natures. You can see all these different natures I have. Even though they don't have good IVs, it's good to have those natures to be able to breed in. And if you're not able to do 5-star and 6-star Ditto raids, whether you can't play online or you just are not able to get into them, catching a lot of random spawn Dittos will allow you to find IV Dittos. So you can see I've categorized my Dittos into different sets. Like this top one up here has an HP best. The second one has all attack best. Third row has all defense best. Fourth row speed best. Fifth row special defense best. And this last one down here is special attack best. If you get a Ditto with at least one best in each of the stats, you can breed whatever you want. That's all you need to be able to get perfect breeds. It's a little bit longer of a process than using a 5 IV Ditto, but it's definitely possible, and it's how I did my first breed, which was Scizor. There are 7 different items that you will use in breeding. I will showcase them and explain what they kind of do. Destiny Knot's the most confusing one. I will explain that after the rest of these. That's the first item. The second one is the Everstone. The Everstone is going to force the nature down to the offspring of the Pokemon you put it on. So if my Pokemon had an adamant nature and I put an Everstone on it and bred it, all of the eggs will have an adamant nature. So if you want to force the nature to babies, this is how you do it, is you use an Everstone. The other 5 items are the EV training items, which are right here. Power Anklet, Power Band, Power Belt, Power Bracer, Power Lens, Power Weight. Now what these do is these are used for EV training, but they're also used for breeding. So you can see this one says an item to be held by a Pokemon. Holding this anklet reduces a Pokemon's speed in battle, but allows its speed stat to grow more quickly. That very last part that says allows its speed stat to grow more quickly is how you know what it does. So this one does special defense, this one does defense, this one does attack, this one does special attack, and this one does HP. Now what these do in breeding is whatever Pokemon you put them on will force the eggs to have the IV of that parent. So for instance, if that Breloom you see in my party there had a perfect HP stat that I wanted to put onto a Shroomish egg, I could put this power weight on my Breloom, breed it with a Ditto, and every Shroomish that I pop out of those eggs will have a perfect HP IV. So it's very great for moving IVs down to babies. This is definitely the method you will use if you don't have a 5 IV Ditto as well. Now the final item is the Destiny Knot. This one again is a little bit more confusing than the other items. Let's go to my breeders here. What a Destiny Knot's going to do is going to make it so 5 of the stats come from parents when an egg is made. So in the normal game, when you use no items to breed, and you put a, let's say, male and female Fuecoco here together, it's going to pick 3 of these parent stats randomly. So it could be 3 stats from the father, 3 stats from the mother, 2 stats from the father, 1 stat from the mother, or any mix like that. It's going to pick 3 stats from the parents, and then 3 stats it's going to make up from thin air that are just randomly made. When you throw a Destiny Knot into the breed, it doesn't matter which Pokemon you put it on, it will make it so 5 of the stats are taken from parents and only 1 of them is taken from thin air. All of the items I have mentioned are in the main town Mesagoza. So if you zoom into Mesagoza and you find Delibird presence, like right here, go over to there, and underneath one of the sections you will find all of those items I talked about. For the instance that they are not there, you might not be far enough in the game. Alright, so I picked a random Pokemon, and I'm going to showcase kind of how you'd go through the whole breed now. So I chose Crocodile as the Pokemon I would like to breed. So first thing I'm going to do is going to go to Cerebi, the website. So here we are, and we looked up Crocodile. What I want to do here is I want to figure out whether I want to make him a physical attacker or a special attacker. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and I'm going to look at his stats, and I'm going to notice that his physical attack is much higher than his special attack. So I'm going to want to make a physical attack Crocodile is the breed I want, which means I want all 5 IVs, and I do not want special attack. So I want the other 5 IVs. Alright, so now let's talk about the process that we're going to do. So we're going to want to stick Adamant Nature on, because he's a physical attacker, and that's the nature I have chosen. So I pulled out my Adamant Ditto, and now I have Crocodile. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is put an Everstone on this Ditto. And now I will breed these two together, and the first egg I will get is guaranteed to have a sandile, which is a baby crocodile with adamant nature. My favorite place to breed is the very top of the map. Up here at the ice biome, there's a Team Star area right here that no Pokemon can spawn in, and you can have picnics. Plus, there's a lot of room to run around. So after I've put the items on that I want, the only item I need at this point is just the Everstone on Ditto. I'm going to do a picnic. Once I'm in the picnic, you will want to make an egg sandwich. A sandwich that will increase your egg power. So go to the middle, click make a sandwich. Now the best sandwich I have found is this one right here, the Great Peanut Butter Sandwich. In case you don't have the recipe, you can click X and put these ingredients into creative mode. Once you have the ingredients set that you want to make the sandwich, go ahead and go into it, as long as you don't mess it up. Basically, as long as none of the ingredients fall off the sandwich, you will get the egg power. This sandwich is really easy to make because there's just 3 small ingredients. All these ingredients you can buy from the main town, Messagoza. There are deli shops around if you zoom in and look for them. This is going to allow eggs to now be bred. See egg power level 2 up there in the top right. So now that that's made, all we do is wait for these two Pokemon to breed, and it will pop out in this basket. I'll come back when that's done. After waiting around for a few minutes, I now have a Pokemon egg, so I will get it. And now I can end the picnic, because you only need 1 egg for this instance. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the egg and get a Flame Body Pokemon. So let's put the egg in here. We can put that Ditto away. Take the item off it. And I have a Flame Body Larvesta right here. If you put him in the lead of the party, the egg will hatch 2 times faster. Now I'm going to get on my mount, and I'm just going to run around until the egg hatches. This is why I like this area, because there's just infinite room to hatch eggs. Can't run into Pokemon on accident or nothing. It shouldn't take too much longer. They hatch quite quickly. Depending on what breed you do. Dragons do take longer to hatch. I imagine Sandile is kind of in the middle. There it is. The egg is hatching. Now this egg is guaranteed to have my adamant nature that I wanted because I put an Everstone on it. There we go. We got a Sandile. Alright. So now if we look at it, we can already see nature is adamant. So perfect. We got the nature that we wanted. Now we would stick the 5 IVs that we want. We want it to look exactly like this King Gambit here, to have adamant nature with the 5 IVs right there. So that's our goal. So we're going to find our Ditto. I do have a Ditto here with pretty much all of the IVs. So what I would do next is I'm going to grab this Ditto. This one is missing speed, which is okay. And I'm going to mix it with this Sandile. And what I would do is I'm going to throw an Everstone on the Sandile to force the nature down. And then a Destiny Knot onto the Ditto. And I would breed these two together until I get the 4 IVs there that I want. So special defense, defense, attack, and HP. And I would keep switching the Sandile out after I got a few. So if I got an attack Sandile and a attack defense Sandile, I would switch it out and keep breeding it with this Ditto until I got all 4 of those stats onto 1 Sandile. After that point, for my 5th stat, I would find another Ditto I have, for instance this one, or this one, and I would stick it in to breed with instead, with a Sandile with those other 4. And I would keep breeding them with that Ditto having a Destiny Knot on, of course, and this new Sandile having a Everstone on, and I would breed them until I had the 5 IV Sandile pop. If you do the whole process correctly and you have these 5 IV Dittos, it'll take between 1 to 2 hours, I would say. When you're going through this next section that I'm showcasing here, I would hatch 20 to 30 eggs in between to see how close you got at that point to the perfect IV. Now, in case you do not have access to getting these 5-star or 6-star Ditto raids and can't get these good IV Dittos, run around and catch these 1 IVs, and you can do the same process. It'll take a little longer, but instead you're going to stick the Destiny Knot on this Ditto and breed it with the Sandile over and over again until you get all the stats onto the same Sandile. Just make sure that the Dittos always have Destiny Knots, and the Sandile or Pokemon you're breeding always has that Everstone to keep that nature breeding down. That'll do it. Hopefully I covered everything and I was able to explain how to breed good in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. If you enjoyed this video, you found it helpful, please hit that thumbs up button. If you want to see some more tutorials like this in the future, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. This is Bikes out.